All right, fellas, commissioner's here, and I know I've been out of touch the last couple of weeks, but the brother's been just going through business stuff and traveling for work and everything going on. So got it all straightened out, so I should be back on point here moving forward. But anyway, what I did, I'm gonna do this real quick because I've been trying to do this video for the last hour and I keep getting cut off for some reason. So I'm gonna run through it. What I did is I put the teams in the four categories: one, two, three, and four. Four being the most likely to make a Super Bowl run, four being the least likely. So the teams that I put in the top category that I think are favorites looking at a Super Bowl run potentially is Crusher, Eagles, Illmatic, just for fun. The criteria I use for that and the way I've always looked at it is teams, since we play eight players actually per week, teams that have five, six really solid players, two or three high performers, these guys that are going to be in top five in their position at the end of the season, but then also have some very good secondary performers on their team to support those top players. Those are the teams I always look at as having the most likelihood of making a good Super Bowl run. Crusher, where you have McCoy, Megatron, Vernon Davis, then you put the supporting cast of like Wes Welker, Russell Wilson, Reggie Wayne potentially. We'll see if Reggie can come back and have a good season for him. Those make a difference. Terrence West, this guy, this running back in Cleveland that took over for Ben Tate, looks good. They were talking about him going into the season, and he started today and took over last week, I think, for Ben Tate. So he's looking solid. But that was the key: is those 4 or 5 players for Crusher kind of puts them in that top group. The Eagles, I think, are still there. I know Adrian Peterson may be gone. We don't know how long, but you still got Breeze, Julius Thomas, Marshawn Lynch. I think Macklin and Cordarrelle Patterson. I think they're going to be solid. I don't know how big of a season either one of them will have, but I think they will be solid throughout the season if they stay healthy. And he's got Bobby Rainey right now filling in for AP, and he filled in well last year for Doug Martin when he was out. So depending on how long Doug Martin is out, will make a difference. But if he doesn't get Adrian Peterson back, I don't see a second running back there for Bill to really have a solid core group like he's had in the past. He'll still be in the mix, but it's not going to be like it was. So Bill's still in there. Illmatic, still with Vince Jackson, Alfred Morris, Tom Brady, Jimmy Graham. Noshawn looked good last week before he got hurt. So I think that's going to be a key is he's got to get Noshawn back in the mix and running the ball well. But just on Tom Brady, Alfred Morris, Jimmy Graham, Vincent Jackson, and Crabtree, who already caught a touchdown here tonight, I think Illmatic can potentially be there. The other side of that situation with Illmatic is that Tom Brady's not throwing the ball as much. Look like they're trying to go back to what they did when they won the Super Bowls and not have him throw the ball as much and run it a lot more. And that may hurt Illmatic. So we have to see how that plays out through the season. But he needs Brady to be more than, going towards 25 to 30 touchdowns. I think you got to get him in the mid 30s to really be in the mix for this top ranking that I'm giving him. So we'll see how that plays out. Just for fun, Peyton Manning, Denarius Thomas, Gronkowski, and Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates sat out there a long time in the draft. Nobody wanted to touch him, and he put up 3 touchdowns today. So he's not done after all, it doesn't look like. I'm sure he'll be up and down, but between those 2 tight ends and Peyton Manning and Denarius Thomas, 49ers D is solid. Zach Stacy had a good game today. So Rick, just on Peyton Manning alone, should be in the mix the whole season. Second tier group: Killer Bees, No Limit, Superfly, The Boys. These are the teams that have 2, 3, maybe really good players, and then another 2 or 3 good solid players, but with maybe some questions. So that's where those teams fall into that category. They can definitely compete for a Super Bowl, but just have some questions that need to be answered to have a complete squad in order to be balanced enough to make a Super Bowl run. Killer Bees has Eddie Lacy is out. Got to see if Pierre Garcon and T.Y. Hilton's going to do anything. The Pittsburgh combination with Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell looks good. Looks like they're going to have a good year, but he's got to have help. So right now, Eddie Lacy is critical. We've got to get him back and have one of these, or maybe both of these guys, put up some decent numbers, like I'm sure James is expecting them to. No Limit, same thing. Aaron Rodgers, Arian Foster, good game today. People thought he was done. Look like he still got something left in the tank. Andre Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders, look like he's going to have a good season with Peyton. Uh, but then that's where the questions comes in. Maurice Jones-Drew, Michael Floyd, James Starks. Just somebody's got to step up out of that group to do something to get Wayne over the hump. Superfly, same thing. Two or three solid players. Bernard, Ryan, Julio, or not Julio, I keep saying Julio, but Victor Jones, Percy Harvin. Once you get past those three or four players, then there's not a lot there to help, and he needs to have somebody else step up, and we'll see how that plays out. The boys, same thing. Now Jamal Charles is out. Got good balance here on my team, but is anybody going to be explosive continuously? I don't know. Always looks good on paper, but never seems to work out continually. So we'll see how the boys plays out. But I'm satisfied with the team. I think I could be there at the end. Real Deal, Bomb Squad, Don Mega, Gangsters made up the group of three. Those are the teams where they had one or two good players. But then a lot of question marks once you got past those two or three. Some players have to step up, and back again, that could happen. But I think two or three, four players have to step up that you can't really say for sure will do that for these teams to have a good shot at the Super Bowl. So that's why I'm kind of on the bubble with those teams as far as do they really have a shot to make a Super Bowl run this year. And then finally, the only team I really had in the 4 position is Clyde. That number 1 pick of Bishop Sankey. As of right now, he's not getting a lot of touches, so that's not working out. He traded away the number 2 pick to Don Mega for Robert Griffin. He's out. So right now, he's coming back with the same team, and then A.J. Green went out today. So outside of Romo, not much there. Kyrie Robinson, James Hill, I think that's his name, Bryce Brown. Brandon Cooks looked like a good draft pick later in the draft that he picked up. Looked like he's going to be pretty solid there in New Orleans. But Torrey Smith, Marquise Lee, just a lot of questions there for Clyde. So I think it's going to be a long season for Clyde. That's all that I could really come out of this group here unless 2 or 3 players just come out of the blue and start balling. So anyway, that's the commission's picks for going into the season. I'll follow up later in the week, see how the first 2 weeks have looked, and we'll go from there. So anyway, that's it, fellas. Have a good week, and I'll talk to everybody later on in the week. Peace.